thought I was judged a lot by how I looked and how I dressed and even how I talked, because I still had an accent when I came. And even going to like stores and stuff, people would look at you, they would follow you. Not that it was like a bad thing, it was more of like, oh, they're different.
I guess the change of culture around me, it was a really big culture shock, especially, yes, I did know how to speak English, but it wasn't how people spoke here.
Compared to living here, I think everything was more accessible in Philippines. Like if you need to go buy something, you can get it just across the street. Like in here you have to either ride a bus or drive yourself to a store.
My life in the Philippines, I feel like, was a lot better because majority of my family lived there. Here it's just me and my mom, so like all my aunts, my uncles, my siblings, my cousins are all there. The food is a lot different. Here there's like a lot of fast food versus like back home I would go to the market and buy like fresh fish.
The pressure of choosing a career choice, because I feel like now in the 21st century, young people are so pressured to choose a career choice because we're taught that if you don't choose a career right now, then you're not gonna have a career later. You're gonna be living from house to house.
I think the biggest thing is like sexual orientation, because when I came out to my family for being bisexual, it was very like weird for them because they've never heard of that term until I like told them about it. And I feel like they don't have a big grasp on what it means, and half my family doesn't talk to me anymore because of it, and the other half are really accepting. I think it's mainly a generational thing because they haven't had to face that like years ago.
I feel like I didn't have like the best direction for picking like a major and like picking a career, because I grew up with the, oh, you have to be a nurse or be an engineer or like something that makes a lot of money.
I wanted to go my own way and actually do something I wanted to do, which is computer science, and I had to have a talk with my mom and tell her that this is, I didn't want to be pushed into being a doctor or a nurse or a surgeon. I like how it kind of opens up the world, and I understand that for some people it's kind of hard.
If you don't have your phone with you, you're kind of forced, to make conversation with people, and you connect with people so much better. Like even if you have your phone with you but you say you're not going to look at it, you're still going to want to. But if you don't have that option, then it's that much easier to make connections with people. So, well, technology is a good tool. It's very useful. It can take away from human interaction.
I think technology is like great, like we're like advancing and it's like for the convenience, but at the same time I think technology is also really detrimental to like our generation, because it's replacing a lot of like social, like face-to-face interaction.
I feel like I'm still connected to the older generation because growing up, like a lot of people who are mixed or come to the US as kids, they don't know the language, they don't know the culture, they don't know where their heritage is from. Versus like growing up, I spoke 2 Filipino dialects before I learned English, and I'm aware of our culture, like our foods, our dances, our music, versus like my friends who have grown up in America. They're very disconnected from their heritage. Like they don't even know like the simple basic terms on how to say things. They don't know regions or places in the Philippines that are very popular or common, and they're just like unaware of their background and where they come from.
I do feel disconnected from the older generations just because there's the whole like the old-fashioned, like older generations are like so like old-fashioned unless they're like keeping up with like us now, and I feel like there's just a really big, there's a really big difference between the generations, like whether it's ideals or like the way we have to act and our mannerisms and technology. Just like I feel like there's just a really big gap in generations and from the older generation.
I don't think I feel as disconnected as people who grew up here in the United States, although I do see why they would be kind of disconnected from them.
would raise my son differently than the way I was raised. I know I was raised a lot of like the old school way, and I like the super like strict and stay home all the time and focus on school 100%, like just super like hardline, like being, I don't know, just being strict and old fashioned, I guess the way I saw it. And I just want to raise my son differently because, I mean, I'm like a young mom right now, and I feel like there's like a lot of stigma around that. And then I feel like, I don't know, I just want to raise him differently because I was put around like really sheltered and like kept at home. And then I guess that had like a part to do with me like being like a bad kid. But then I just want to not do that to him. Like I want to offer him like the opportunities to do the things that he wants to do. And I think that's why I probably struggled with trying to figure out my future, because how am I supposed to figure out my, like, how am I supposed to like figure myself out like staying in a room? Like, I mean, like staying at home, you know? Like I can't go out and like discover things, and like I wasn't able to do that until, you know, like getting a little more freedom. So like I want to give my son like more freedom to like discover himself and find his passions and help him figure out his way in life.
I would raise my children slightly different. I feel like I wouldn't pressure them into going or having the same beliefs that I have. I feel like I was influenced a lot by my parents because they were like superior and they were the authority figures, so I should have followed and listened to what they said. And I believe that each person growing up needs to discover who they are and what they believe in. I would teach my children what not to do, but not influence them on, oh, I'm firm on this belief, you can't disagree on that.
I would probably raise them just a little bit different. Like I'll be more lenient, open to them being exposed to more stuff that is like into their generation.